Oh, hey there. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dee, and this is Dee's Reading Lounge, where I'm sharing my love for reading at my own pace. Welcome back to day number, I think this will be day number 9 for me. I'm officially calling it Bookmas because I'm almost done with the 12 days of Christmas. I'm almost there. I only missed one day so far because I'm still sick. As you can see, I'm getting better every day, but I still have, my voice is still sickly. I'm going to be doing the worst books that I have read in 2024. Without further ado, let's get started with that first book. And it's this book right here. Home is Where the Bodies Are, right? Is that the name of it? Home is Where the Bodies Are? Yes, by Geneva Rose. Now, I'm new to Geneva Rose in general. However, this was book number 2 for me, I think. Book number 2 for me. I think I read The Perfect Marriage first, I believe. Let me check. No, this was like my introduction to her. I didn't hear or listen to anybody's review of this book before I went into this book. However, I did hear people say, just in general about the author, that they're a hit or miss. So I kind of had that on my radar from more than one person had said that. And so I went into the book kind of like not knowing what to expect. And y'all, this book was so disappointing. The premise is about a family where the mother passes away. 2 of the siblings live in the state where the mother lives. And then there's a brother who moved away. He got his own life and he really doesn't have anything to do with the family. Well, they have to come back because the mother does die and she's on hospice. But before she dies, she does utter some strange words and utters those words to the oldest daughter, Beth. So that has Beth like, what in the world does that mean, right? And so once the brother comes home and the other sister, name is Nicole, they all get together to sort out her estate, go through the will and all those things that people have to normally do when someone dies, like with the house and things like that. They are up in the attic one night and they discover a videotape and they start watching the videotape of them as children and things like that, and just popping in tapes. When they pop in a tape where they see, I think, the father covered in blood and there's a dead body, right? So that's pretty much what the premise is about, which sounds really interesting when you read the back of the book. But y'all, I was expecting some action, right? I thought it was going to be a thriller book, right? And it really wasn't that. It was very flat. It was a lot of dialogue between the siblings because they had their own issues between each other. One was a drug addict. Beth, the oldest one, was, she lived a boring life, really didn't do anything with herself, just working a non-satisfying job. And then the brother, he had moved away and he was a big time IT professional. He was making a lot of money, I assume, and things like that. And he really didn't have any dealings with like his meager family he left behind. And so it just dealt with their relationship pretty much. And it dragged on like that with the element of like mystery, So I would classify this more as a domestic mystery because, y'all, it was just no thrill at all in this book. And so it was so disappointing. I did listen to this on audio. I was not going to buy the book because while I didn't hear any reviews about this book because I didn't want to spoil it for myself, people did, and more than one person said that this author, Geneva Rose, is a hit or miss for them. So I was not going to go out and waste my money in buying this book. And I'm glad I didn't, y'all, because this book just, to me, it just was not good, especially if you are expecting a thriller based on the cover, based on the height. That's why I don't really get on bandwagons and things like that regarding books. This just happened to come up or be available on my Libby app. And so I said, what the heck? And I just read it. No. So the second book is The Mother-in-Law by an author I've never read before. And again, I listened to this one on audio as well because it was available. And so I was really trying to dip my toes into reading thriller books because I love thriller movies and documentaries, serial killers and things like that. I love that, like to watch that. So I was really, when I started back reading, I went in hard with the thrillers. And I was so disappointed with this book, y'all. The Mother-in-Law. It sounds like a Lifetime movie, right? Which I love Lifetime movies, even though they're popcorn thrillers. They're just entertaining. But this one, and it's a lot going on. They capture you as soon as, the movie comes on. But this one, y'all, was just so boring. It really was. So what this book is about the relationship between, I think her name is Lucy, the daughter-in-law, and a mother-in-law, which her name was Diana. Diana was a pillar in her community. People loved her because she served the community as far as refugees and things like that because of what she had went through in her younger life. One day, Diana ends up dead, and she does leave a suspicious note saying that she had cancer, and this is not a spoiler because this is on the back of the book, and she took her life. But all of the clues around her did not suggest that. So her death was deemed suspicious. And so there are some other characters in the book. She does have another daughter. She does have another son-in-law. But the relationship between the main character, Lucy, is like the center of the story because, I mean, everybody knows that they don't really get along. They don't really like each other. So I went into this book, you know, expecting, you know, again, some thrill, right? Because I'm new at reading thrillers. That's what I'm expecting. I like action in my thrillers. I don't like slow burns. I can read a slow burn up until a certain point, but then some action needs to be happening. And it just was not at all any thrill or any action in this book. It was more of a mystery. I would say a cozy mystery. Because there was some other family dynamics going on in the story too, dealing with the daughter of the dead woman too. So it was a lot of characters that could have killed her. So you were always thinking about who killed this lady because it was several people in the background that she didn't get along with, and suspicious like elements in the background. But it just was not it, y'all. And it wasn't good to me. I wouldn't recommend this book. The last book is gonna come to no surprise because I did do, not my recent one, but the one before that, a recent reads video. It's called Ward D by Frida McFadden. Now, I have read, let's see. Before this, I read one book by her, which is The Teacher, which I did enjoy The Teacher. I did rate that book a 4. It was very entertaining. It was thrilling and twisty. So I expected the same thing. And I really hadn't heard anything bad about Frida McFadden. So I was expecting this book to be good because it's a medical thriller. So it's about this resident who has to do a rotation on a locked psych ward. In the back of the book, it does say that Amy has a history of her own, and it leads you to believe that she's got something that is going to eventually come out about her. But that's not revealed until, you know, several chapters into the book. But if you know Miss Frida books, her chapters go really fast, so it doesn't really take a long time to get to the nitty gritty. So you find out why she's so deathly afraid to go on this psychiatric locked ward. She goes in expecting something awful to happen. And the book was so just disorganized. The whole flow of the psychiatric ward just, to me, was unbelievable. It just didn't make any sense. I have worked on a psychiatric unit. Well, yeah, I have. I've done a rotation, and I used to work at a psychiatric unit. And I know it's a book, but because this was written by a doctor, Frida McFadden, if you didn't know, she is a surgeon. I expected this to be written realistically to what actually happens on a psychiatric ward. The things that were happening on that ward was just so chaotic. It just didn't make sense. Because I guess this deals with mental health and things like that. It was a psychological thriller in that way because it made you crazy after reading. It made me crazy after reading that book because it just did not make any sense. The character Amy wasn't believable. The scenarios in the on the ward, things that were going on wasn't believable. It just seemed like she just wrote this book and didn't really put any thought into it. And so I did not like that book. I rated it a 2. Okay, I don't recommend this book for anybody to read. But that's it, you guys. I've only read 3 horrible books since I've been reading, which I guess that's not a bad thing. But I haven't read a whole lot of books because I'm just getting back into reading. Let me know what books that you read this year that were just awful and you wouldn't recommend to anybody. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.